The disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. A cruise ship mystery that still haunts the open sea. She was young, vibrant, and full of life. A college graduate on a tropical vacation with her family. They were just 3 days into the trip when she vanished, without a sound, without a trace. Amy Lynn Bradley's disappearance in March 1998 isn't just a cold case, it's a mystery that's haunted investigators for more than 25 years. No wreckage. No remains. And over the years, just enough disturbing details and alleged sightings to keep hope and fear alive. With renewed attention from a 2025 Netflix documentary, the question echoes louder than ever. What really happened to Amy Lynn Bradley aboard the Rhapsody of the Seas? Amy Lynn Bradley was 23 years old at the time of her disappearance. A recent graduate from Longwood University in Virginia, she had a degree in physical education and a job lined up at home. She was athletic, independent, and described as cautious, not the type to take reckless risks. She lived with her parents, Ron and Iva, and her younger brother Brad. The family was close-knit, and this cruise, a 7-day Caribbean trip aboard Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas, was a celebration. Amy had been reluctant at first. In fact, she had a known unease around open water. But eventually, she agreed. And on March 21, 1998, the Bradley family boarded the cruise ship in Puerto Rico. They had no way of knowing the nightmare that was about to unfold. The cruise started like any normal vacation. The ship departed Puerto Rico and made stops in Aruba and Curaçao. The Bradleys took photos, joined events, and explored the ship. But something about the atmosphere made Amy uneasy. According to family accounts, Amy felt the crew was overly familiar with her. Particularly several male employees. She reportedly told her parents she didn't feel comfortable and that she was being watched. One crew member, known to be part of the band Blue Orchid, which performed on board, seemed especially interested in her. This same man would later be questioned by authorities. On the night of March 23, the Bradleys attended a formal dinner, then went dancing at the ship's nightclub. Amy and her brother Brad were seen on the dance floor with crew members and fellow passengers. Later that night, around 1 a.m., Amy and Brad returned to the cabin. At 5:30 a.m. on March 24, Ron Bradley woke up and briefly saw Amy sitting on the cabin balcony, smoking a cigarette. She seemed relaxed. He went back to sleep. When he woke again around 6 a.m., Amy was gone, and so were her cigarettes and lighter. Her shoes, however, were still in the room. Her bed had not been slept in. And she hadn't taken her room key, money, or any belongings. She had simply vanished. Ron and Iva began searching the ship immediately. They asked crew members to make a ship-wide announcement to locate Amy. But shockingly, and controversially, Royal Caribbean refused, claiming it would disturb other guests. They told the Bradleys Amy had probably gone ashore in Curaçao. But Amy didn't have her ID. She didn't have money. And she had told her family she wasn't interested in exploring Curaçao. The ship docked, and the gangplank lowered, before any formal search began. It wasn't until hours later that an official search of the ship was conducted, and even then, it was limited. Royal Caribbean didn't lock down the ship or alert authorities in time. By the time the Netherlands Antilles Coast Guard became involved, the trail had already gone cold. Initial theories included accidental drowning, but Amy was a strong swimmer. No one reported seeing her fall. No splashes. No distress. Suicide. Amy had no history of mental health issues. She had just landed a new job and was planning her future. Voluntary disappearance. No signs pointed to this. Her passport was left behind, and there were no suspicious purchases or actions leading up to it. Then came the sightings. Not long after Amy's disappearance, reports of alleged sightings began to surface, and they were deeply disturbing. One of the first came from a Canadian man who claimed to have seen a woman matching Amy's description on a beach in Curaçao in 1998, just months after the cruise. He said the woman had tattoos identical to Amy's, a Tasmanian devil on her shoulder blade, a gecko around her navel, a sun on her lower back, and a Chinese symbol on her right ankle. She allegedly tried to speak to him before being pulled away by two men. The man didn't report the sighting until years later. But more chilling accounts would follow. In 1999, a member of the U.S. Navy named Petty Officer Eric Smith came forward with a story that shocked investigators. While on shore leave in Curaçao, he visited a brothel and claimed that a woman approached him and said, "My name is Amy Bradley. I'm from Virginia. Please help me." Before he could act, she was quickly taken away by others in the establishment. He didn't report the encounter immediately, fearing repercussions for being in a brothel while on active duty. When he finally did report it, the brothel had been burned to the ground, possibly as part of a cover-up. In 2005, a disturbing image surfaced on an adult website. It showed a woman lying on a bed, appearing dazed or sedated. The image was submitted anonymously to the Bradley family by a former Navy SEAL who specialized in human trafficking investigations. When Amy's parents saw the image, they were horrified. They believed it was Amy. Her tattoos seemed to match. Her facial structure looked similar. The FBI reviewed the photo, but it was never conclusively verified. The woman in the photo was never identified. The image fueled growing fears that Amy had been abducted and trafficked, possibly as part of an organized Caribbean sex trade ring. In 2002, a man named Frank Jones contacted the Bradley family, claiming he was a former U.S. Army Special Forces operative. He told them Amy was alive, being held by traffickers in Curaçao, and that he had a team monitoring her location. Jones said they were preparing a rescue mission. He sent the Bradleys fabricated intel and even faked surveillance audio of Amy crying for help. Desperate and hopeful, Amy's family paid Jones over $200,000. It was all a lie. The FBI later arrested Frank Jones and charged him with wire fraud. He was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. For the Bradleys, it wasn't just a financial loss, it was a crushing emotional blow, and another chapter in a story filled with manipulation and heartbreak. In July 2025, Netflix released a 3-part documentary titled Amy Bradley is Missing. The series examined the case in chilling detail, including never-before-seen interviews and documents. Public interest exploded overnight.
I have answers.
She's still out there somewhere.
Celebrities like Kim Kardashian publicly shared the documentary, urging their followers to watch and spread awareness. Reddit threads and YouTube breakdowns began circulating new theories. The documentary raised critical questions. Why did Royal Caribbean delay the ship-wide search? Why were potential suspects never fully investigated? Why was Amy's case deprioritized compared to others with less evidence? Amy's family has never given up. They've maintained a website, spoken to media, and worked with private investigators for over 2 decades. They believe Amy was taken, and that she could still be alive. As of today, Amy Lynn Bradley remains listed in the FBI's missing persons database. A reward of up to $250,000 is still being offered for credible information. How does a person vanish from a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean, with no witnesses, no alerts, and no justice? Amy's disappearance is a chilling reminder that even in places that seem safe, surrounded by people, lights, and luxury, danger can still slip through the cracks. Her case remains open, and her family still hopes for answers. If you have any information about the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley, contact the FBI or your local authorities. One detail, one memory, could finally bring her home. Watch our channel for unsolved disappearances.